Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good afternoon, very good day to all my bright food service experts for FSM 4503 semester 2 sesi 2020-2021. Apa khabar semua? Saya harap semua orang berada dalam keadaan sihat sejahtera. And saya first and foremost, I would like to say sorry because I have to postpone a few times of our scheduled lectures and also labs because of unseen circumstances. But nonetheless, inshallah, I do these videos for all of us to at least whenever you are free, you can just view to my online videos. Regards to three topics especially. One is on supply chain management. Secondly is on customer relationship management. And thirdly, the third one, I reckon that we will cover in the class tomorrow, inshallah. So basically, let's go to what do we mean? But before that, yeah, I just want to share with everyone. Let me. What I have shared with you guys in Facebook group earlier today in the morning. Okay. So before we go to our lecture on supply chain management, so these are the things that I hope that we can cater, I hope that we can cover for at least this 1 week. Yeah, inshallah. Always have confidence that we can settle as much as possible, inshallah. As for tomorrow's lecture, okay, you guys, as for the lab agenda week 14 for group 1, I thought that we can combine, but since most of the students wanted to be on Tuesday afternoon, there is nothing wrong about that. So we'll proceed with Tuesday afternoon at 2:30. And for those who can make it for this Tuesday, you are by all means you are welcome to join lab on Friday at 3:05 p.m. Okay, so these are pretty much what we will do later for group 1 and for group 2 on Friday. Now, about lecture, okay, there are a few things that I would like to I will cover tomorrow. But basically, all these SCM lecture and CRM lecture, I will do it online. The videos I will prepare before tomorrow. So during that particular time, okay, so as you can see, 2:30 p.m. until 3:15, 45 minutes or so. I hope that you guys can watch my videos either before the class or during the class. And then the remaining time, we can have a discussion or Q&A. Same goes with CRM lecture, LOs, 3:35 p.m. to 4:05 p.m. And the thing is, the pop quiz is immediately after that. I already set the time, 3:15 and also 4:05. It's just a pop quiz for your attendance, actually. Okay, nah, don't be worried about that. It's a very simple one. So I hope that tomorrow's class we can do it until 4:30 p.m. so that we can have the right time of amount of time for us to wrap up the session and wrap up the lecture too for our last lecture. All right, boys and girls. Today we will talk about supply chain management. Okay. Apa itu supply chain management? Soalan-soalan cepumas ni. Supply chain management, if I may start by saying, okay, let me stop sharing for a while. Okay, apa itu supply chain management? Supply chain management, if for those who took your introduction to food service or introduction to food industries subject under my class, FSM 3002 last time, I always say that the food industry is about from apa to apa. You guys pilih agak ni lah. From farm to, some says from farm to table, from farm to fork, garpu. Bagi saya, from farm to perut. Food service kan? Okay. Whatever it is a chain. Supply chain management is how you want to manage the whole supply chain of food industry. Now, if you say that, okay, we are in the food service industry, we are not involved with the food industry or food manufacturing or food production, food manufacturing or farming, for instance, agriculture, that is wrong perception. Okay, when you talk about supply chain management, you are talking about from A to Z, daripada farm, daripada apa namanya, daripada ladang. Macam mana you nak menghasilkan hasil makanan yang pokok-pokok jagung yang cantik buahnya. Macam mana you nak hasilkan buah mangga yang seperti apa rumanis. Macam mana you nak jadikan hasil ni semua yang terbaik supaya you all boleh transferkan dia kepada food production, for instance. And then for food production and manufacturing, mungkin dari segi how you want to process the fruits, for instance. Saya bagi contoh one good example. If you are in the pineapple industry, pineapple industry, sekarang ramai yang buka ladang nanas. Sebab pelanggannya banyak. Permintaan di China begitu banyak. Dia bukan nak makan buah, dia nak makan sayur-sayur watar. Dia nak makan empulur. Because from that empulur, they can come up with a lot of enzyme. And that enzymes cost you very high. Ini usahawan-usahawan daripada mainland China, Alibaba. Okay. Now, nonetheless, you have to come out with the good crops. In this case, in this instance that I give you as an example is the nanas, pineapple. You have to make sure that your nanas is good so that it can go into the manufacturing. What do you mean by manufacturing or processing, food processing? You want to make sure that the fruits are being graded. Ya, contohnya FAMA, ya, persekutuan apa nama FAMA? Federal Agricultural Marketing Association, FAMA. Dia ada menggrade-gradekan, memberikan penggradan. Nanas ini apa kualitinya, kualiti A, kualiti B. This is very crucial because you want to market your product, you want to sell your product, you want to make sure that there is a buyer for each one of the nanas that you have produced from your ladang. So all these, and then let's say you want to put aside, you want to come up with a fresh pineapples per se is fine. And another line is you want to come up with a canned pineapples. Right? Canned pineapples ni have to make sure that the potongan itu betul. Apakah ini hanya orang food science dan food technology yang perlu tahu? Saya rasa kalau tanya budak food service students are more expert in terms of potongan apa, dadu lah apa, saya pun dah lupa dah. Jubulu apa benda saya pun tak ingat dah. How you want to cut the nanas, the pineapple in a proper shape so that it can be canned. Okay, now the canned itu processing of the saya malah lupa nama, retort system, retort processing untuk pengetinan pineapples itu, mungkin we need the information, we need the knowledge, experts from food technology. And then, but after that, it goes again lagi. There is a logistic. There's a logistic. Kalau saya boleh lukiskan, saya tengok. Kalau kita katakan, saya tak tahu ni boleh lukis ke? Lukis. Kalau ini kita katakan, make it blue, Okay. This is farm. From farm to, kita katakan from farm to terfarik pula apa benda tu. Bukan. Pointer. I nak masukkan ni. Okay. Kalau you nak katakan dari segi oh sorry, saya tahu pandai dah benda ni. Ini padam ke? Okay. Okay, katakan ya. Okay. So let's say you want to we are talking about just now from farm, okay, and then from farm kita kata to tak apalah, dia tulis je. Okay, tekan farm. From farm to, saya kata perut, stomach. Itu yang saya punya falsafah. Ya. Falsafah orang lain lah. Okay. But what I'm trying to tell you guys here is from farm to stomach. Stomach ni orang kata from to table lah. Ya, tapi saya kata start from farm to apa ni kan. So whatever it is, saya tak berapa pandai. So sorry, I won't share this. No. Okay, whatever it is. Okay. Saya ingatkan saya pandai melukis, tapi saya tidak pandai melukis punya. Okay. No. Okay. Whatever it is, what I'm trying to tell you is that supply chain management is from farming until you, just now saya berhenti cerita tadi, ialah bila production of the canned pineapple ataupun fresh pineapple. Now, from the pineapple itself, it comes to our field. Okay, itu adalah petani, it's a farmers line, and then it comes to the logistic in terms of bawa daripada farm untuk bawa ke kilang perprosesan, itu adalah logistik, kita panggil logistik. These two component logistik. Kemudian di tengah-tengah itu ada processing. Processing, it can be fresh fruit, or another one can be processing atau manufacturing of the pineapples to become cube pineapples or so on and so forth. So but then it's after that particular stage, it will goes back into our field, which is food service, because people want to eat. When they eat is when they serve the food product to be consumed. Either it is a fresh pineapple or it is a canned pineapple. When it comes to us, the food service people, we have to make sure that these two different structure, different elements of these pineapples can be properly put into nicely, can be used properly for your cooking and for you to serve that particular pineapple to your client or customers. So until customer tu makan pineapple itu, dia kata, pineapple ni sedap, resepi ni enak, buah nanas ini adalah enak, processingnya sedap. So these are the chain ataupun rantaian food supply chain yang kita ada. Saya nak tarik perhatian semua kepada okay. This is an article that I found. Saya jumpa. Saya akan sharekan artikel ni. Food Supply Chain Management, System Implementations and Future Research. This is a journal article which I found in the Journal of Food Supply Chain Management Journal. And it was published way back to accepted 25th of December 20. Saya buka yang saya. Okay. So this is the paper that I'm talking about. Okay. Well, either you are in whatever field, yeah, food supply chain ataupun food service, food technology, food science. When it comes to food supply chain management, it consists of everyone. Okay, this paper was published in this journal. Okay, the Journal of Industrial Management and Data System, way back to 2017. And what's so unique about this paper, which I would like to share with you guys, is this element that they shared, this component. Okay. Food supply chain management, system implementation, and feature research. Now, when you say supply chain management, like what I said to you guys just now, supply chain management for food industry, you have to have a frameworks. Different types of fruits, different types of foods might have a different types of frameworks. Yeah. Same goes to the models. What are the business models that they have? You have to determine on that. And also worldwide movement. Now we are talking about the production of food. Okay. And the production of food, for instance, I give you a good example. Singapore, I'm not saying bad things about Singapore, but when I was in Australia, we found this one can of buah-buahan dalam oriental punya shop, ya. And then kita orang pun buka, tengok, apa ni? Dia katanya lychee Singapore. Betul ke ada lychee Singapore? Is there such thing like lychee Singapore? Or should I ask, the question is, do they have land to plant lychee? They don't have. What they did was, they use the rambutan, they kopek cantik, they masuk dalam tin, they do the food manufacturing, and they go for worldwide punya distribution. They call it as lychee Singapore. I'm not saying this. This is a true story. You can go and find it in Australia. Okay, but they are brilliant. They are very cerdik in such thing lah. Okay, so it is what I'm trying to say. It is a worldwide movement. We have to think about supply chain is no longer about daripada Cameron Highland pergi ke apa Jerantut pergi ke KL. Bukan. We're talking about the more wider, more worldwide punya distribution channel. This is what you talk about information, food supply chain management. And then IT system for food supply chain. There are two things. One is on traceability. Katakan you talking about the pineapple tadi. Ada pineapple busuk. You have to have a system. You need to use IT. You have to use information system to determine, to track back at which part, at which station, at which critical point within the supply chain that particular pineapple goes up. That is what we call this as traceability. And of course, you need all these kind of things is to help you to make a proper, a correct decision-making system lah. Okay. Now, in terms of implementation of food supply chain management, this is really interesting, because it says that reported cases. Now, all this while, perhaps food service pun lupa, food manufacturing lupa, that every single complaints that the consumer put upon your product is very crucial. Bukan hear and say and then masuk bawah kapet. Tidak. You have to determine or improvise or respond to all the reported cases. Be it a positive cases or it is a negative cases. And these kind of cases need to be recorded, need to be not only recorded, need to be saved in the database and have to be responded to those who created the cases. And this is where you are really needed in terms of data-driven implementation. You have all this data. Berapa banyak datang daripada ladang, berapa banyak yang keluar, berapa banyak kiraan. These are very crucial. Tak apalah, dulu tu reject je, yang ni reject data, reject. Yalah. But even you reject the pineapples, you must have a good reason for the rejection. And that is what you call as a data-driven implementation. And these all must be implemented in the food supply chain management. And some of the issues that this paper mentioned is the current challenges and future perspective, supply chain network structure, data collection, models, and so on and so forth. So I will share this paper with you guys dalam Putra Blast later on. Yeah. So let me share now with you all. Okay, let me. So I hope my explanation at this moment could help you guys to understand a bit of what is food supply chain management is about. Okay. All right. Now let's go to our notes. PowerPoint notes. Okay. Okay. So that is the whole story, the big picture of what supply chain management in food industry is all about. Specifically in food service, we cannot say that food service, even though that we are preparing food, we are at the end of the supply chain. But it doesn't mean that we are not important. We are still the crucial part. Every single moment, every single section in the supply chain management is crucial in order for us to ensure that everything is safe and good, and the tastes are wonderful for our consumer to consume. Okay. Now let us go through some of these notes. Let me put myself up there. Okay. Baik. Describe 3 components and 3 flows of a supply chain. Okay. Okay, let's go through that. Now, what are the flows of supply chain? Okay. Like I mentioned earlier, that we are talking about from farm to fork, from farm to table. Now, there are a few things that you have to determine. What are the flow? Okay, the first. What are 3 components and 3 flows of supply chain? What are the things that flowing from one section to another section to another section in supply chain? First thing first is the flow of materials. You need to have a materials. Kalau tidak ada materials, makanya apa benda yang akan transfer kan? Okay. In our case, the materials is our food lah. Okay. Materials. Secondly, you're talking about information. How much, how many is good, how many is not, what is the bangsa dia apa, jenis apa, dah masak belum, sebagai all that the information. Okay. Thirdly, monetary. Every single section of the supply chain is about money flowing from one section to another. You have to remember that. And the third part, and you have to remember that services from raw material suppliers through factories and warehouse to the end of the consumer. Services are also, for instance, when you want to talk about the grading, saya kata tadi grading daripada farmer, macam mana you nak buat grading, that is also a service. Or logistic, macam mana you want to transfer from the farm into the manufacturing, from manufacturing to the restaurants. Yeah, that one is also the flow of services also. So there are 4 components. One is the flow of materials, information, money, and also services. From raw materials kepada sehinggalah to the end customer. Now, why is it supply chain visibility? The ability, why it is important? Because you want to see there is the ability of all organization within a supply chain to access, view relevant data or purchase materials as these materials move through their suppliers, production processes and transportation networks to their receiving docks. You have to have transparency. Engkau beli berapa? Engkau jual berapa? Engkau dapat apa? Kenapa grade ni sikit? Kenapa grade tu banyak? Kenapa aku tak dapat yang ni? Kenapa yang tu? These are traceability, transparency. Supply chain management is all about transparency. You have to have your suppliers that you believe. And the suppliers nowadays, when you talk about the infusion of internet marketing, you have several suppliers that you can choose from. There is no harm for you to choose the suppliers that can give you the best price at the right moment, at the price, quality of product, raw materials, and then you can use them, because that is the whole idea of what information system, what internet is infusing into our supply chain management, is to give the whole structure of supply chain is more transparency and everyone can get benefit out of it. Katalah ada orang tengah, intermediaries, yang nak markup harga 100%, which is unacceptable. Ya, saya bagi contoh dalam keadaan MCO ni, people suddenly kata harga barang naik. If you have a good supply chain management, there is a visibility of the supply chain. Nobody can tipu nobody. So this is the beauty. This is what information system have to offer to our operators, our farmers, our food production people, our all the entrepreneurs and so on and so forth. So inventory velocity, the speed at which a company can deliver product services after receiving the material required to make them. Now, I still remember when I did research 2005, when I asked A&W punya head of marketing, he said that, Farid, jangan lawak cerita kartun. Mana ada kita nak ada supply chain management lagi dalam A&W. Orang dekat Cameron Highland, acik-acik yang di apek-apek dekat Cameron Highland tu, mana ada sistem apa-apa. Mungkin buku ledger panjang lagi masa tu, 2005. But I reckon now everything is transformed. Ini kita katakan transformation for a betterment. Because if you still remember when COVID first say hi to us, about 1.5 years ago, all these sayur-sayuran dekat Cameron Highlands stranded kat sana. Sebab supply chain tak boleh nak movekan dia. We cannot transport all these sayur untuk deliver kepada users. So what they did, luckily dia orang cerdik, dia orang buat sistem barter change with people from Lumut yang ada ikan tukar dengan sayur. Itu cerita dulu. But that is the importance of supply chain when you have the visibility so that you can increase the inventory velocity. Yeah. Sebab in supply chain management, okay, let us look into this. Okay, these are all the suppliers. These are you, katakanlah you, ataupun you mungkin kat sini, you food service. Yeah. So this is what you call those who are further up from you, is what you call as upstream of the supply chain. Upstream, atas, upstream. Downstream is product services information. Upstream is all the information and payment and returns. So upstream and downstream. So you have to differentiate between those two. Now, 3 segments of supply chains. What are the 3 segments of supply chain? There are one is what you call as upstream. Yes, saya cakap tadi upstream, where sourcing or procurement from external suppliers occurs. You get all your raw materials. Raw materials takkan daripada you kan? It must be coming from outside. Yeah, you have to outsource all this. So these are what you call as upstream of the supply chain. And then internal is where you are producing your product. Yeah, where packaging, assembly, manufacturing. Now for food manufacturing, maybe you can say that it is manufacturing. But how about food service? Food service, when you are processing the food for the user, for the consumer, that is the internal process. Yeah. And then downstream, where distribution takes place frequently by external distributor, meaning maybe you already produce it and then you want to deliver, to give to your consumer. In some instances, nowadays we have a lot of these mobile apps, food delivery kan, macam Grab, Food Panda dan sebagainya. So those are what you call as a downstream of the supply chain. You tak boleh lupakan dia orang tu. Traceability is also including of the delivery. One of the main issue yang I want you guys to ponder, fikir sekejap. Cuba tarik nafas, fikir. If you try to combine halal issue with the delivery and also the traceability of the supply chain, especially at delivery of your food. Macam mesti banyak ke tak lama. Dia pakai bekas tu campur-campur ke apa ke. That is something for you to ponder lah. Want to do research, boleh jumpa saya. Okay. Alright. And 3 tiers of suppliers, okay. Okay, itu tak apa. And then there are 3 flows yang saya sebut awal tadi. Materials flows, yeah. And then there is information flows, financial flows, yeah, services flows also. Yeah, tambah lagi, right? Alright. So I've covered on that. Reverse flow ni apa? Reverse flow ni, for instance, kalau ada katakan kerosakan, dia kena ada reverse balik. Ataupun kalau dalam contohnya kilang roti, dia hantar roti is by trays. So tray tu yang letak roti tu, they have to return back that particular tray to the bread punya production manufacturers. So that is what you call as reverse flow. Okay. So basically, that is the components of supply chain. Okay. So after this, I will explain to you what are the components. All right, guys. So we already understand what are the components of the supply chain management is all about. Now, what are the basic segments? What are the flows? What are the concept of supply chain management by now? Yeah. Now let's have a look on the 5 basic components of supply chain management. There are 5 things that we have. 1, you need to have a planning. Planning is the strategic component of SCM that involves developing a set of metrics, when, how you need to make sure that you have a very right time of amount for your production to be successful or accomplished at a certain time that you already wanted it to be. Yeah, I'm not sure if I've shared a story of what I did when I myself and my best friend when we did our when we did our internship at Harvey Food, Malaysia. Harvey Food is a producer and producer of McDonald's buns. Yeah. So there is one fine day, me and my sweet friend, Miss Siu Peng, was assigned to the QC, QA/QC department, and we have to, for that one particular day, we have to receive all the raw materials delivery. We have to receive receiving all the raw materials at one day. So because we are very details, yeah, the plan and everything have been done by the QC manager, Miss Call. But then when you talk about plan, you have to make sure that when that particular raw material arrive, so that it will be sufficient for you to replenish whatever you have in your factory or in your internal or in your place. Okay. So what happened during that day is the first thing first, we are students, right? So we really follow whatever is written on the paper. We follow it very thoroughly, especially my friend, Miss Supeng. So the first thing that we received that day is yeast. Yeah. So it was stated that it must be negative certain temperature whatsoever. So what we have to do, we have to check inside the lorry. We have to go and randomly choose any of the yeast to make sure that the temperature is like what it's supposed to be. So saya pun pergilah mengangkat-angkat, cucuk sikit-sikit. Okay lah, boleh lah kata. But this Supeng kata, cannot lah Farid. You know what he did, or what she did? Yeah, we're talking about planning, she go sampai masuk ke dalam lori yeast tu, ya. Sampai masuk ke dalam lori yeast tersebut, dia pergi ukur suhu setiap mostly of the yeast, and what we found out is the temperature is very high. So the yeast supposedly is not in a good condition. So what we have to do? in the SOP, ya, bukan sekarang kita ada SOP, dah lama dah saya belajar SOP, Standard Operating Procedure, you have to reject those yeast within certain temperature. So we report that, and then we say that we go to see our boss, Miss Ko, say that because of this yeast, we suggest to return this, but we reject ataupun return. If you look into this particular note, you can see that, okay, you have a plan, you have a source, organization choose this who supply. In that instance, this yeast company is from Belakong, and make is where you manufacturing the activities of you producing whatever your product is about, and then you have to deliver. The delivery is what, for instance, you produce a food and then you have to deliver. That is a logistic assessment. And then return is where you have a responsive, flexible network of receiving defective return. In this instance, we have to return because at the first time kita dah terima, we have to reject. And not only that, that particular day, we rejected tepung, bukan kami reject. Sesame Street bukan Sesame bukan kami reject. Tepung tu satu container tu we reject sebab we see that it is not right. So that is really crucial. Until the last thing that we rejected was Sesame, until the GM turun daripada atas, you two go inside, do the production, no more QA, QC for you two, because you rejected all our raw materials. Now we have to reschedule our planning and everything again. So that is what I try to exemplify to you guys. What is the planning is very crucial. Sources, if the raw material sources are not right, you cannot even have a good time. There is one what you call is just in time, just in time production. Okay, and it must be tally within these 5 components of supply chain management. Now, regarding push and pull model. Now, these are the two most, I can say that, popular things at the very moment. Now, consumer, when the consumer have more say, dia banyak boleh bersuara, dia orang akan demand for more customization. When there is a customization, it is what you call as pull. Okay, businesses to pushing product to customer, meaning if the push model is you produce whatever product you have and then you send it into the market. But when you call it as a pull model, you have to base on what the consumers want. So these are the push and pull model. Nowadays, with the introduction of internet marketing, I reckon that more and more consumers are demanding for more customization. So this is part of the consumerism knowledge that together come with the digitalization. You cannot run away from that. The more the user know, the more they have the options, the alternative to choose who would they want to buy from in the supply chain. So you cannot say no. It is what you are doing. That is the business model of internet businesses. You cannot say no, right? So the more intelligent, the more knowledgeable your consumers are, the more that you have to custom it to their needs. Now, what are the problems that they have in supply chains? Okay, uncertainties, the need to coordinate multiple activities, internal units to replenish the product. Okay, demand forecast. Yeah, sometimes you have to always demand. You have to always do the correct forecast. Forecast ni apa? Kita kena betul-betul forecast. Kita kena betul-betul tertungkur dia. Kita kena jangkakan. Sebab itu kalau tersalah jangka, kes COVID naik. So supply chain juga tu. Saya masuk COVID ni. Okay. So you have to make sure that whatever the forecast is, well, we are not God. We cannot make sure that the forecast is correctly 100% precise. No. But at least we have to base on whatever data that we have. Yeah, we have to crunch the data, and from there we can have a good forecasting for our production whatsoever. And one thing more is about bullwhip effect. Bullwhip effect is things keep on changing. Bullwhip ni apa? Ekor lembu. And bullwhip effect. So what are the things is people keep on changing during this MCO. Sekejap dia nak ni, sekejap dia. This is things that you cannot avoid. So what are some of the solutions? Adalah beberapa solution. Vertical integration, maknanya suppliers tu you ambil, you become the suppliers yourself. So you can decide whatever product that, whatever raw materials that you want, so you buy you punya supplier itu. Just in time inventory, macam production of cars banyak menggunakan just in time. Information sharing, this is very crucial. Information sharing is facilitated by electronic data interchange. When you use transaction TPS, you are sharing your data, you're sharing your knowledge, your information with your suppliers, with your vendors, with your consumers. With these information sharings, the supply chain become more transparent, and it is more prudent for you for any for traceability of any incidents within the supply chain. So I think that is pretty much what I would like to share with you guys. So this is some of the EDI, electronic data interchange. You have portals that you share within suppliers and also your consumers and so on. Well, all this is internet business. When you introduce internet into the business, and it becomes like simplified. You become more traceability, more transparent, and by doing so, you can have a very good supply chain. And by doing so, you can ensure that the product that you serve to the consumer is at the tip-top level. So that is pretty much what is supply chain management is all about. Specifically, I try to give some focus examples that related to our food service or food industry at large. So I think that's all that I want to give the lecture on the SCM. I hope I have shared quite an ample notes, thoughts, and sharing with everyone. If you have any questions whatsoever, please do so. Please do ask me on this posting, or you can ask me directly in the class tomorrow. Okay, that's all for now, guys. So thank you very much. So always remember that supply chain management is where you use IT to not to facilitate, but to monitor, to trace, to ensure that your supply chain is being managed properly in the terms of from farm to the table. That's all for today. Thank you for listening, and I see you guys in the class tomorrow. Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care.